Hello Rumble and probably YouTube. I haven't made the final decision whether I'll upload my videos there as well. My name is Yair Mohr and this is Mohr About. Yeah, I know it's a bad joke, but that's what I have right now. I'll try to do these videos weekly, even though in January I'm going back to the army here in Israel, which means I don't know whether I'll be able to keep the pace. But I'll try to upload a video every Friday, I guess, and talk about things, mainly exposing lies, whether on the media or in other things you're being fed, like tech ads and stuff. I'm a tech reporter, have been for 20 years. So that field is dear to my heart. And I'll be talking about things that I find annoying and not being discussed to their full extent. I didn't know where to start. So recently I've heard a lot of talks about the Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire deal. So I thought, since I'm an Israeli, why not read the deal and try to dissect it? And this is what we're going to do today. Let's bring it on the screen. I maximized the text to the biggest size I could. This is from the Times of Israel. They published the full text, and I zoomed in as much as I could without breaking lines. So, 1. Israel and Lebanon will implement a ceasefire of hostilities beginning at 4 hours Israel Standard Time, November 27, 2024, in accordance with the commitments detailed below. So already a big flaw here. Israel and Lebanon. Lebanon is not a real country. Not anymore. It doesn't have a real army. Their army is incompetent. It can't even control its own territory. So having Lebanon as a side of the agreement is mistake number 1. Let's go on. Number 2. Clause 2. From 4 hours in the morning, IST November 27th forward, the government of Lebanon will prevent Hezbollah and all other armed groups in the territory of Lebanon from carrying out any operations against Israel, and Israel will not carry out any offensive military operations against Lebanese targets, including civilians, military, or other state targets in the territory of Lebanon by land, air, or sea. So, again, Lebanon is a side of the agreement. Why? They are not part of the fighting. It happens in their territory, but the Lebanese government is nothing. It's just a puppet government. And they definitely cannot control Hezbollah. Hezbollah controls Lebanon, not the other way around. Clause 3. Israel and Lebanon recognize the importance of United Nations Security Council. What's the R? Yeah, 1701 from 2006, I believe. Resolution to achieving lasting peace and security, and commit to taking steps towards its full implementation without violation. So this is the biggest mistake, and I've heard. If you're an Israeli, go listen to last week's podcast by Akiva Bigman on Useful Idiots, Idiotim Shimushiyim. He dissected this very beautifully. Resolution 1701 has never been anything anyone, mainly on the Lebanese part, meant or intended or did keep. So basing the new resolution on the resolution one side was bluffing on, it's stupid. It's just stupid. It shows you're not serious. Clause number 4. These commitments do not... the very fact we have to speak about that resolution and keeping it shows that it's been broken severely, like in a manner that is irreprehensible. Like something you can't go back on. These commitments do not preclude either Israel or Lebanon from exercising their inherent right of self-defense consistent with international law, which always gives any other force but Israel the force to do various stuff. Number 5, without prejudice to the UN interim force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, which is the most incompetent army in the history of the universe, and its responsibilities, or to commitments in Resolution 1701 and its predecessor resolutions. Predecessor resolutions shows you how many times it's been broken. Lebanon's official military and security forces, infrastructure and weaponry will be the only armed groups, arms and related materiel deployed in the southern Litani area shown in the attached LAF deployment plan. Again, they cannot enforce it because Hezbollah is stronger than any other group in Lebanon. Clause 6, consistent with UNSCR 1701 and its predecessor resolutions, in order to prevent the re-establishment and rearmament of non-state armed groups in Lebanon, any sales or supply of arms and related materiel into Lebanon will be regulated and controlled by the government of Lebanon. Additionally, all production of arms and related materiel in Lebanon will be regulated and controlled by the government of Lebanon. Again, they cannot enforce this. Hezbollah has practical control of the country's biggest port. It was very, very well demonstrated 4 years ago, I think around COVID, when they had a huge weapons storage facility blow up right under the harbor. And it wrecked half the city. Not half the city, but a very big chunk of it. I mean, the government has no say in what happens in its own territory. And I'm starting to repeat myself, so I'll try not to. In order to implement UNSCR 1701, and again, why? You know nobody is even taking it seriously. And upon the commencement of the cessation of hostilities according to paragraph 1, the government of Lebanon will provide all necessary authorities, including freedom of movement, to Lebanon's official military and security forces, and instruct them consistent with the UNSCR 1701 and its predecessor resolutions to A. Monitor and enforce against any unauthorized entry of arms and related materiel into and throughout Lebanon, including through all border crossings, and against the unauthorized production of arms and materiel within Lebanon. Again, they cannot do this. Starting with southern Litani area, dismantle all existing unauthorized facilities involved in the production of arms and related materiel, and prevent the establishment of such facilities in the future. Do I have to repeat myself? No, I hope not. Starting with the southern Litani area, dismantle all infrastructure and military positions and confiscate all unauthorized arms inconsistent with these commitments. Probably they will all be rebuilt within 2 years, which is what happened last time in 2006. The United States and France intended to work within the Military Technical Committee for Lebanon, MTC-4L, to enable and achieve a total LAF deployment of 10,000 soldiers to southern Lebanon as soon as possible. Further, the United States and France intend to work with the international community to support the LAF as appropriate to achieve such an increase in its deployment levels in Lebanon and to improve its capabilities. So you see, that army does not exist today. They are rebuilding it now based on France and US aid, which will probably go somewhere else because it's a very corrupt country. And Hezbollah has control over the parliament, so what's the point? 9. Upon the commencement of cessation of hostilities according to paragraph 1, and without prejudice to UNIFIL and its mandate and responsibilities of UNSCR 1701 and its predecessor resolutions, Israel and Lebanon resolve, in coordination with UNIFIL, to reformulate and enhance the tripartite mechanism, hereinafter the mechanism. The reformulation and enhanced mechanism hosted by UNIFIL chaired by the US and including France, will monitor, verify, and assist ensuring enforcement of these commitments, which was part of the last resolution and was never enforced because when Hezbollah started rebuilding its force in southern Lebanon, nobody did any fucking thing about it. Onwards, Israel and Lebanon will incorporate and facilitate the work of the mechanism and will ensure their safety. Again, tried and failed. The mechanism will work with the MTC4L to strengthen the capacity and training of the LAF to inspect and dismantle unauthorized sites and infrastructure, above and below ground, confiscate unauthorized weapons, and prevent the presence of unauthorized armed groups. There is also a very big problem on what exactly you confiscate, how do you promise it doesn't go back to the same terrorists. Alongside the mechanism's work, UNIFIL's work pursuant to its mandate will continue, including the efforts UNIFIL supports through its convening role that enhance the mechanism's effectiveness. No, UNIFIL never enhanced the effectiveness of anything but its own salary, okay? Israel and Lebanon will report any alleged violations to the mechanism in UNIFIL without prejudice to their respective rights to communicate directly with the UN Security Council. The mechanism will develop appropriate procedures to consult, inspect, gather information, and assist in ensuring the enforcement of these commitments. Again, if you are a Hebrew speaker, I refer you strongly to Akiva Bigman's last week's episode on Idiotim Shimushiyim. He did a very, very beautiful sketch on it right in the opening. The point of it being practically that if you want to report any violation, they will only accept violations claiming Israel is the violator, not ever admitting to any Lebanese Hezbollah violations. Upon the commencement of these cessation of hostilities, according to paragraph 1, Lebanon will deploy its official military and security forces to all borders and to all regulated and non-regulated land, air, and sea border crossings. If it could, it would have done it 20 years ago, okay? In addition, the LAF will deploy forces, set roadblocks and checkpoints on all the roads and bridges along the line, delineating the southern Litani area. They cannot. Upon the commencement of the cessation of hostilities, according to paragraph 1, Israel will withdraw its forces in phased manner south of the Blue Line, and in parallel, the LAF will deploy to positions in the southern Litani area shown in the attached LAF deployment plan and will commence the implementation of its obligations under the commitments, including the dismantling of unauthorized sites and infrastructure and confiscating unauthorized arms and related materiel. The mechanism will coordinate execution by the Israeli Defense Forces and LAF of the specific and detailed plan for the phased withdrawal and deployment in these areas, which should not exceed 60 days. Again, when you are rebuilding Lebanon's army from scratch, 60 days are not enough. So in 60 days, I mean, it's in 30 days now because, about 55 days, I think, remaining to this agreement. Israel's forces will be back in Israel and southern Litani area will be empty, completely empty of any soldier that can prevent Hezbollah from rebuilding. Israel and Lebanon request that the United States, with the partnership of the United Nations, facilitate indirect negotiations between Israel and Lebanon with the objective of resolving remaining disputed points along the Blue Line consistent with Resolution 1701, which outright stated after its enforcement, Lebanon has no other claims on the Blue Line. So they are reopening their borders, our borders, Israel's borders, to negotiations. And we take it like, it's uncomprehendable. The United States and France understand that the above commitments will be accepted by Israel and Lebanon concurrently with this announcement. These commitments strive to enable civilians on both sides of the Blue Line to return safely to their lands and homes. The United States and France further intend to lead international efforts to support capacity building and economic development throughout Lebanon to advance stability and prosperity in this region. And I think, this now is just the report by Jerusalem Post. Sorry, Times of Israel. So as you see, this agreement means practically nothing. It isn't worth the paper it was never published on, I hope. If they printed it, they can put it straight in the shredder, because this is not enforceable. And we've already seen in the first chance Hezbollah had to break the agreement, they did. And when Israel attacked in response, which is not forbidden in this agreement, defensive strikes are permitted. We were, of course, immediately scorned by everyone from the US to Australia. So this is just stupid. This is play pretend. I can't believe Netanyahu is so weak and so stupid. 18 years ago, the last time Resolution 1701 passed, he said it's not worth the paper it was written on. Now he's agreeing to the same exact terms, which is incomprehensible. I can't understand that person. He's a prime minister, and the worst prime minister we've ever had. He lets everyone except ourselves do anything they want. And I hope what happens is in January, when Trump gets into the White House, he will encourage Netanyahu to be a little more self-preserving in this regard for the country, because otherwise we're doomed. We're doomed. So this was my first episode. I hope see you next week. Im Yirtzeh Hashem, God willing, and bye.